I'm Karan, and today I'm going to be talking about tips and tricks with GitHub. So I know I'm guessing most of you might already be using GitHub for open source or for various different other purposes. So I won't really be talking about how to use GitHub, but I'll be talking about some of the lesser known features and some of the lesser known productivity hacks that you can use to optimize your workflows and the way that you work on GitHub itself. So before we get started, a quick intro about me. So I'm Karan, and I manage developer relations for GitHub in India. I'm very passionate about DevOps and open source, and really looking forward to help all of the developers better on their journey towards open source and helping the open source ecosystem really grow. So when I'm not working, you can find me reading a lot of books and doing a lot of things around acting, filmmaking, etc. So you can find me on Twitter on at mvkaran. um, so I think like how the organizers mentioned, if there are any questions, please do send them across, and I'll be taking them up towards the end of the session. So feel free to ask anything that you have, even if it's not related to the session that I'm doing right now. GitHub, is has and is becoming like a platform that optimizes developer efficiency. It's made all the developers, the way that they approach writing the code, a lot more efficient, a lot more simpler, and a lot more collaborative as well. And this is the reason, which has also helped us support more than 50 million developers worldwide, because GitHub is the home for all developers, where a lot of the open source development and even development of various different products within companies take place on. And the pull request was not the last feature that was shipped on GitHub. We continue to constantly keep shipping features, and we have always been listening and shipping features based on what developers like all of you keep telling us about in terms of what you need. We like to keep hearing your needs, and then we keep shipping features. And just the last year itself, and over the course of 1 year and even more, there were a whole lot of features around collaboration, automation, security, and other improvements that were shipped on GitHub to help your developer workflow and make development a lot more easier on GitHub. And we like shipping features at GitHub, and but when the frequency that we ship features at, how we do at GitHub is at so fast, it often goes unnoticed, or you might have not even known about how it can help you better improve your workflow and your efficiency, etc. So this session will be around all of those small tips and tricks that you probably might have missed, or probably might have even never noticed that you can accomplish on GitHub in your regular workflows itself. So do let me know, let us know if some of these features are what you are already using, or if there are features that you feel are missing, which would really help your development workflow. So let's get started in terms of looking at what are some of those tips and tricks that you can really start using to better your workflow and help optimize your efficiency. So the first thing that I want to talk about is schedule reminders. So here's a question that I just want to throw up to all of you out here, and this is something like I do whenever I talk about this feature. What is the first thing that you do when you get a pull request on GitHub? Yeah. So what is the first thing that you do when you see that you have an email or a notification, or a team member tells you that there is a pull request that is waiting either for your review, for your approval, or that just comes into your team? Yeah. Maybe you might think about it as I'm going to park it for later. I'll go look at it, when I have more time, when I'm going through the code base for this specific feature or so, etc. Right? So you most probably will want to park it, or sometimes you might even forget to come back and know that that pull request is open. And that's where scheduled reminders comes in. So scheduled reminders really help you to review pull requests, and it gives you reminders for the pull requests that are awaiting for your review. So you can integrate this with Slack, and you can also have custom settings for each of the team, and also you can set priority based on how many approvals are needed and things like that. So this is available in your team setting, and this feature enables teams to focus on the most important code reviews requiring their attention, and to ensure that pull requests do not become stale. If you're having a pull request for um, you know uh, a certain code fix or a new feature that's rolling out very soon, it helps you prioritize some of that, and again, like how I mentioned, ensures that it doesn't go stale. So where can you find this? If you go into your team settings of whatever team you're a part of, you can go into scheduled reminders. You can connect your Slack workspace also, and you can get reminders for some of the pull requests. So what this feature again really helps you is to ensure that pull requests don't become stale. You're reviewing pull requests either assigned to you or on behalf of your team, etc., and ensuring that whatever code or documentation, etc., is reviewed and gets merged. So that was on scheduled reminders. Moving on, uh, as a continuation, many times when you get pull requests, often you would have to go over what are the changes that has happened as a part of the pull request, and also probably have some suggestions or improvements that you want to suggest as a part of it. So one of the key things again that you can do, probably which you weren't aware of, is multi-line suggested changes. So what you can essentially do is you can um, select multiple lines within a code, and you can leave in suggestions for it. So here is a quick GIF that shows you, for example, selecting line 38 and 39, make some changes, and then you can add suggestions for multiple lines. So you can actually select an entire code block based on however you want to add your suggestions and make your suggestions, and you can even accept it based on whatever are the conditions over there. So this is really helpful when you want to review kind of like an entire code block, and you don't want to go on making individual suggestions or changes for each of those lines over there. So this again helps you when you're reviewing large code blocks or want to suggest changes for an entire code block. So one other thing that you probably were not aware of, and this is really really useful for productivity. I use it all the time for for my work on top of GitHub while collaborating, etc., is saved replies. So when you are going into any issue or pull request, etc., and if there are frequently asked questions, etc., you might want to probably use a crafted reply, that is a templated reply, which you can then go on and modify based on what that individual request is. So saved replies is a feature that can really help you do that. So for example, in an issue view, when you go into the small arrow mark towards the extreme right end and select it, you can have a saved replies inserted into the comment, and also you can create a new saved reply. So this would be like really helpful when say someone comes back and then asks you on an issue on, hey, how do we do ABC, or when is this going to happen, etc. And this is a very frequently asked question that you don't want to keep on typing out again. You can templatize it and create a new saved reply, and you can even have shortcuts. For example, in the duplicate issue, you can see Control 1 is a shortcut to quickly add that saved reply. So a really huge productivity boost, in case you're not aware, because it helps you quickly add replies, and ensure that people who are asking you any of the questions are informed, even though you probably might not have the bandwidth to kind of keep answering for all of it. Um, so moving on, one other thing that probably you might have not noticed, and recently we made it a little more easier for you to do, is code search. Searching on GitHub itself. So I'll give you an example. So say you were to kind of go and look for a repository, or a certain code, etc., or even a user on GitHub. What would you currently do? In most probability, you might probably go to Google and then search for that repository or username or whatever it is that you're looking for, right? So an example is, if I go to Google and then search for, say, Axios, yeah, this is what Google shows me as the search result. But what I was really looking for was this specific project, the promise-based HTTP client for browser and Node.js. Yeah. So what I was looking for was different, and what I actually got when I was trying to search on Google was different. So to make things much more easier and optimized, you can search, with certain prefixes within GitHub itself. So there are examples, for example, like this. Yeah. So you can say that in name, Axios, or in README, there is node-fetch, or you can even say search, by stars greater than equal to 3000 with those two keywords, SVG and animation. Or you can even give ranges, it has like 10 to 20 folks, etc. So this makes it a lot more easier for you to look within your organization, your repository, within the whole of GitHub, etc., to find exactly what you're looking for, and makes power searching so much more easier. So to show you how this is, if I were to go on the top left and say stars greater than or equal to 3000 and SVG animation, having those two keywords, you can find repository results. And you can go to the left and start looking at even code or commits, etc. So you can use multiple of these prefixes to make your searching much more accurate and much more narrowed down to what exactly you're looking for. So there is like a prefixes cheat sheet as well. If you go to github.com/search, where you get the search interface and click on prefixes, it gives you like a quick cheat sheet of what all prefixes you can use for searching, etc. So the great thing about this is, some of these prefixes and some of the way that you search, you can use it very similarly, even on the API, to get any of the results that you need. So this is again, something that I use, and a lot of us within GitHub as well use a lot, because we're trying to find certain repositories or certain users, certain code, etc. And it's a lot more easier when you know what are the prefixes, which helps you become a really good power user of finding open source projects, or even closed source projects within your own organization or team, etc. So the next thing that I want to talk about is RFCs, request for comments. So a lot of the open source, larger open source projects, or even within probably your company, based on how big it is and what are the processes, might most probably have an RFC opened up for a certain new feature, or various different aspects of implementation, etc., where they seek comments from the rest of the team of how to go about it. So a great way actually to accomplish this is by using discussions. So right now, probably if you are using RFCs, that is, if you are using a request for comments to kind of seek some feedback, you might be creating issues for all of this, right? So you might be creating like each issue for a certain RFC, and then having all of that discussion within that specific issue. uh, but a great way to actually accomplish this, and a feature which is available within GitHub, is discussions. So when you start using the discussions feature and combine it with RFC, it helps you achieve a lot more of the style of RFCs, which you can usually expect within discussions. So you can so this is how a discussion would look like within a repository. And you can again have like templates for this, and then there is an RFC, say on the left, which says route cards or so. You can even have threaded conversations within this discussion. You can suggest an answer, say that that's something that's helpful. So it gives you that real feel of comments coming in and helpful discussions happening, compared to when you have RFCs within issues. So like how I said, you can even suggest it as an answer for that specific discussion. uh, on the bottom, you can also see there is a threaded conversation view for some of this, where you will be able to have conversations and replies and start actually a discussion. Because if you think about it, RFC model is where you're able to bring in a lot of comments, a lot of discussions, pros and cons, have a debate, etc., in terms of how you want to go about accomplishing it. So some of these features within discussions really help you and fits very well for things like RFCs. So the next thing that I'm gonna tell you about is slightly different, and many of you might already be using it, but for those of you who are not aware, um, you can actually now start adding your Twitter usernames as well on your profile. So it's a really great way to amp up your visibility, and also to help people connect with you better on and through using GitHub on Twitter, etc. Right? So for example, this is my GitHub profile, and I have listed out and directly added my Twitter. So if you go into your profile settings and edit it, you'll be able to add your Twitter handle over there. So it makes yourself more visible and makes it easier for people who are visiting your profile, looking at you, to reach out to you a lot more easily, and also follow you, get connected, etc. So if you haven't already added it, I would strongly suggest that you do so, because like how I said, it makes things very easy. I've been able to connect with a lot of people through Twitter, when I just go and I'm looking at their GitHub profile and start wondering, it's like, okay, I'm the person hasn't really listed their email address, and but they have their Twitter handle, so it's great to kind of connect with them through that. So that's something that I would strongly suggest you to do. And the next thing is something that is a lot more recent, and if you have been using GitHub actively, and browsing and looking at a lot of the repositories, etc., I'm sure that you might have come across this, which is customizing watch notifications. So right now, when you go into any of the GitHub repository, and you hit on watch for that repository, you will actually get multiple options in terms of what kind of events do you want to be notified about? So you can have options like participating and at mentions, you want notifications, or you want to receive all notifications from this repo, or you can even select custom events. For example, I want notification only to issues, or only about pull requests or releases, etc. So this really helps you streamline a lot of the notifications that you might be getting if you're watching a lot of repositories. Say if you're watching any of the most popular open source project repositories, yeah, because you're interested to know what's happening. If you are if you are just watching it for all activity, there are chances that you might be flooded with a lot of notifications. Let's take an example of, say, Node.js, or say Kubernetes, etc. Right? So if you're having all activity, there's a lot of activity for it, and you'll be flooded with notifications. But say you want to be notified only of releases, when a new release happens on that repository, you want to be notified. Now you can do that, where you'll be able to customize these notifications based on each of the repository that you're watching. So moving on, the next thing that I want to talk about is temporary interaction limits. So this is a feature that really helps you give your repositories and a lot of the activity happening on your repository kind of a cooldown period, to ensure that probably you get a little breathing space, and also to ensure that your team is able to catch up on whatever they already have. So when you go into a repository moderation settings right now, you will be able to temporarily restrict which external users can interact with your repository for a configurable period of time. So there are like three options that you have: limit to existing users, limit to prior contributors, limit to repository collaborators. And for each of them, you will be able to enable the interaction limits for a certain period of time as well, right from 24 hours to 6 months in certain steps, etc. So like how it mentions over there, this can be used to force like a cool down period to avoid any heated discussions or unwanted interactions, etc. And really helps you better moderate your repository and the interactions. So one of the final things that I want to talk about is security advisories and CVEs. For those of you, who have been probably contributing to open source projects or even working on it within your companies, you know how important security is for any of the application that you might be contributing or anything that we use right now. So that's one of the reason why there is a security tab in most of the repositories. This being an example, Node.js/Node. You can actually look at the security policies and security advisories for a repository. And if you are a maintainer, you can actually add in your security policy as well for your repo, and tell people of how to report vulnerabilities. And also you can publish security advisories for a certain repo. So this really helps many of your users, either internally or externally, understand the security aspects of your project and your code, and also make it easy for people to report any vulnerabilities. In case you're not aware, we at GitHub also maintain a GitHub advisory database, where we list down many CVEs and a lot of the details around various different projects which you can browse through to get a understanding of the advisories which is in there. Also, we have something known as a GitHub Security Lab, which is a team of engineers at GitHub, and also working very closely with a lot of the security researchers and the community to really help secure the world's software together through tools, through research, to advisories, and multiple other things. And a key component of this is something called as CodeQL. That was released. So this basically helps you to treat your code as almost like a database. So you'll be able to query your code and do semantic code analysis on this. So it helps you find all the variants and also detect the vulnerabilities much more early on, and also fix them. And then you can start sharing your query with others as well to do the same. You can do this to query a lot of the open source code bases as well. And if you find something, go back, and then you can report that to the maintainers of the project, and you can share your query with the other projects as well. So bottom left is how this looks like in terms of CodeQL, and this is again very useful if you're example combining CodeQL with something like GitHub Actions, where say you get a pull request, and GitHub Actions will be able to trigger a workflow which runs a analysis using CodeQL on the code difference that was pushed to ensure that, say, it's there are no vulnerabilities and things like that. So you can kind of use this across various different use cases in order to secure your code base. So those are some real quick tips and tricks that you can start using in order to make your workflow a lot more better, to optimize your efficiency on GitHub. But there are a lot more to come. So I'm not sure if you're aware yet, but GitHub actually has a public roadmap. So if you go into github.com/github/roadmap and go into the projects, you'll be able to see all of the things that we're working on, and when it's kind of expected to be released, and where is it expected to be released, what kind of GitHub feature or products, etc. it will be supported, and other things. So this will be really helpful for you when you want to know when something is coming up on a certain feature that you're interested in, or a certain type of a GitHub product, say GitHub Enterprise or Actions, etc., or on the cloud, and will it be generally available beta or so. It helps you really plan out, and also it's just interesting to know what all new would be coming up, right? So do check it out on github.com/github/roadmap. And if you know any more tips and tricks that have really helped you in your regular workflow, any of the specific features that you found within GitHub that has helped you a lot when you were adopting it in a very different way, or if you have a different use case how you're using some of this, please do let us know. You can tweet out to us on GitHub India, or you can tweet out to me on Twitter, and we'd be happy to really take a look at this. Before we end, finally, there's something that I want to share, and this is something that we have announced recently, very, very recently as well, is GitHub docs are now open source. So the entire documentation that you see on docs.github.com is now open source, where you will be able to contribute and help improve the docs as well for millions of other developers who are using GitHub daily and in their workflow. So the whole intention again behind this is to make GitHub docs the best that they can be. So we need to work in the open and with all of you, so we can better sync with your feedback, ideas, and the collective knowledge. And of course, the best way to do that is to work in public, and that's the reason why we open source GitHub docs, and opening it up to your feedback and contributions, etc. So now there is also a button within within docs. So towards the right, you'll be able to see that when you go into any article and you feel you can help improve it, you can make a contribution to it, to create a pull request for that specific specific article and a change that is needed, and you can submit that as well. So this is very exciting, for us, because we really want to make this a community effort to help make open source and GitHub a lot more better for everyone who is involved and uses GitHub. So that's it, for today. And I hope there were at least some tips or tricks that have been useful for you, that you weren't aware of, or something that you felt probably had a different use case that you can use for your development workflow within GitHub. Um, so if you have any questions, concerns, comments, etc., I believe we have a couple of more minutes. You can bring up the questions over here right now, or always feel free to tweet to @mvkaran, and then we can connect and then chat.